Prop 131 makes your vote matter in every election. More choices, better elections. Vote yes on 131.
Welcome into the Toyota Lounge. I did not like that hockey game. Can I please have a Toyota to drive as far away as possible from whatever that was?
Save me a seat.
Yeah. Get it at your Front Range local Toyota dealerships. This is the DNVR Avalanche post game presented by Bet365. The Avs lose to the Tampa Bay Lightning 5-2 in a game that was, let's be honest, never particularly close. The Avs give up 3 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game, and Tampa Bay pretty much never looks back, shuts it down, add another goal when it matters to make it 4-1, and then the empty netter is your 5-2 final as the Avs get a power play goal from Ivan on a deflection. That was cool, and then kind of a meaningless goal from Cale Makar in the latter half of the third period. I'll be honest. That's the result I expected tonight. The reality of the Avs lineup, the Ross Colton injury was the straw that broke the camel's back, and then you have Miles Wood injury as Hulk Hogan dropping the leg on your body when you're already on the ground. I mean, that lineup is just, it's very difficult to be competitive in an NHL game with a lineup like that. There's some guys I think we expected more out of. We'll get into that. But ultimately, I'm not thinking a whole lot about a game where the lineup kind of decided the result.
No. But you were right, and I was wrong. I mean, you had a bad feeling, I had a good feeling. But then again, I get the lineup part. I am not naive to it. But again, we'll nitpick the game here. They just didn't play the game they needed to play to have a chance at winning the game. And it's the same thing against Chicago last game. It's the same. The Avalanche, for me, we'll get into it later, are being stubborn right now with not playing the right way. You know what I mean? And if you're not playing the right way, especially at the start of games, then you're going to be chasing the game. Then it's hard. And like you said, all the metrics go out the window because it's a 3-0 game, 3-1, whatever it is. Tampa's not really playing. They're just killing the clock. And it's not really hockey.
Correct.
You know what I mean? We all know that. So then the numbers are skewed. So yeah, I'm with you when it comes down.
The entire game's advanced statistics are in the bin.
They're in the...
You're trailing 3-0 10 minutes into the game. That's not real hockey.
Yeah, exactly. So that's for me is just... But again, don't make yourself fall down 3-0. Yeah, could you have... Again, not blaming Kakko Kakkonen, but I'm going to be fair because I'm not very nice to Georgiev at times. And it's... You know, they didn't get a save, and I'm not saying, again, world-class plays by Kucherov, and I'm not blaming him, and I'm not saying he could have made a save, but, sometimes you do. I mean, sometimes you make a miraculous save, and it just didn't happen. And then it was a tough first game for him because he never got into the flow of the game. I mean, he had like 4 shots, 3 goals. Yeah, I mean, it's like, what? And then after that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, a shot here and there. Hey, it's a tough way to judge a guy like that tonight. But did he do the job? No. If you don't have confidence in him, if you're Jared Bednar after tonight, I get it. I'm not saying it's bad. I said I get it. So I just adds more.
I
salt.
I want to talk about the context with this goal.
Sure.
First goal of the game, yeah, I think you could reasonably ask for more. That's a shot from above the circles that gets in clean. There's not really a screen. It beats him.
Agree. Second
goal, entirely unstoppable. That's a great pass from Kucherov from behind the net to the backside. There's no way he's going to read it. And your skaters fall asleep on that play and give them a free goal. Third goal, that's a 3-on-1 with a backdoor pass at the end of it. Literally no goalie in the universe can stop that play.
No, I know.
Fourth goal, I think it's a tough one, but in a perfect world, goes off the post.
Oh, yeah.
In a perfect world, he makes the save and it doesn't go off the post and you don't get that bad bounce. But ultimately, he didn't get beat by the first shot because it didn't go in the net. And then the bounce, that's unfortunate. It goes straight to Jake Gensel. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Could it have been better goaltending? Sure. Is that even the 5th problem on the list tonight? I don't know.
Maybe not.
Is what it is. I will say there probably is something to, you won 5 games in a row, 4 straight for Annunen. You play Georgiev, you lose. You play Kakkonen, you lose. Now, there are bigger problems there, certainly tonight, but maybe it's time to go back to juice.
I mean, I would. I mean, I was assuming that no matter what tonight, Eustace was getting the game tonight. You know what I mean? Like, not tonight, sorry. Saturday night against Nashville. In my book, no matter what.
Yep.
I'm assuming this is what's going to happen.
I certainly would.
Yeah. I mean, again, you got 2 days off. No, again, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Did I expect more from the Colorado's top forwards? Yes.
We will get into that.
Did I see a lot? No. So that's for me why I'm a little bit bummed right now, because I love them so much. And we, I think, as a DNVR Avalanche family, what's not to like? But when there's days like today with the thin lineup up front like that, you need those guys to be at their best, and I wouldn't qualify that as their best.
It's a complicated conversation and one we'll tackle, but before we even get into that, I mean, when you look at what the Avs have, yes, I get it. The bottom of their lineup is AHL players.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. That's just the reality of the injury situation they're in. But I think people overlook the idea that it's not just that there's AHL players at the bottom of your lineup. It's that Logan O'Connor has to play on your second line tonight. And guess what? Logan O'Connor was heavily overmatched and played poorly tonight.
Agree.
You had Yoel Kiviranta on your top line tonight, and how many pucks died on his stick on that top line in offensive zone possessions? It's the reality of the injuries that go this deep means your entire lineup is destroyed. It's not just, we had some depth guys that weren't good enough. The guys who are good bottom six NHLers aren't hanging as top six guys either. It infects the entire lineup.
I agree. I agree, but that's why I'm so critical of those two up front. You know what I mean? Like, and I get your point. I totally agree, and it is a fair point. But your only way of winning, and that's why I just thought they were going to win, was that those two guys would be fantastic. And I felt that Cale gave it a fantastic effort, 2 in the back end in my book. I mean, he had the game. He had the puck on his stick. He was going, you know what I mean? I felt that the other two up front were going to be a little bit better tonight. But I agree with you. And that's what having Lecky and Druin back soon all of a sudden stabilizes a few things, and it slides guys down. Like you said, Hey, Kiviranta, it's a great story. It's awesome. He's a depth guy. He's a fourth line guy. He's a 13 forward, whatever he is. Now he's playing on your top line. Not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the results aren't going to be there. You can patch it up for a game or two, but results aren't going to be there. Now, do I think that there's some reinforcement coming? Absolutely. And then the schedule is a little bit favorable for them because they only play 2 games in the next 6 days.
They get some time off, hopefully.
So it's like, hopefully wood.
Reset,
it's not longer,
get a little
7
bit
to 10
healthier.
days.
Yeah.
You're just missing 2 games.
Yeah.
Well, 2 games meaning tonight and the next one, and then who knows after that, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, look, let's get into the top guy conversation.
Yeah, go.
It's a very weird conversation for me.
I know.
On one hand, you get a 2-point night from Cale Makar. You get a 2-point night from Nathan MacKinnon.
I know.
Mikko Rantanen gets a point. And the unfortunate reality is that wasn't even close to good enough. From a night where, look, let's be honest, the second point is, for the most part, stat padding.
Yeah.
That game was pretty over even after Cale Makar made it a 2-goal game with 9 minutes left. It was the goals did not come in the important part of the game where you could have made this more competitive.
That's right.
And unfortunately, the reality of being a superstar is, especially for a team that is as injured as the Avs, you win and lose with them.
Yep.
They have the backpack on, whether they want it or not. They have to go out there and carry this team to victory with how they're constructed right now. And frankly, they didn't do a good enough job. It just was not an effective enough night. And yeah, there's context there. You're playing with Kiviranta. You're playing with Ivan. You're playing with guys that aren't top-line players. But it doesn't matter. The best of the best of the best need to step up and do what they have to do. Have a 4-point night. Have a quality defensive play to help bail out a team that is just understaffed right now. And honestly, they didn't get that. I think Cale Makar was the best of the 3. Still could have been better.
Yeah.
Nathan MacKinnon was just okay. Could have been significantly better. Mikko Rantanen, actively bad in this hockey game, was hurting the Avs.
Yeah.
And that's just not good enough. We know Mikko's capable of more. We watched it a couple of years ago where he put this team on his back when Nathan MacKinnon was out.
Yep.
They Avs need that version of Mikko Rantanen right now if they want to win games. They need that guy to show up. And they know that he can, so where is it?
And I'm going to add to your wonderful points there because those are great points. And that's what I thought you were going to see tonight. I thought you were going to see Mikko because he's been quiet a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? He got that one game that he got 3 goals, and he had another game. And I know he's had a lot of points. That's all good. But I like Mikko when he scores, right? Because he's a shooter.
It wasn't for lack of shooting tonight. He just was missing the
but
net.
he's only
left and
scored
right.
in two games out of 11 now, right?
Yep.
So he's been blanked 9 times. That's not the consistency that we need from Mikko. So again, one of my favorite players, harsh on him. So I'm adding to your point. My only point that I'm disappointed in is that 0-0, which was
For
very
45
early in the
whole
game.
seconds. Yeah.
Their best player,
Yeah, absolutely.
arguably the Hart
Absolutely.
Trophy, candidate last year with Mac. When some people were mad he didn't get the Hart and Mac got it, made the plays that counted in this game.
100%.
And that's why I get mad because I'm competitive. And I do think Mac is, better than Kucherov. It's not fair to say, but Kucherov's a heck of a player. I'm not here to bash Kucherov. I'm saying, but for me, Mac, it's like, all right, I'm going to be better than him tonight because there are
wasn't.
those internal
He wasn't.
competitions, and he wasn't. I mean, that second goal is a
it's an
world-class play. It's an all-world play. I mean, God.
I will
Even
say,
though Shilly's sleeping, and that was a tough start to the game for him.
I will say,
Yeah.
was Kucherov better than McKinnon tonight? Yes. Did McKinnon get to play against Oliver Shillington tonight? No.
That's what I'm saying. Out of context, as if you're digging into it, you're like, okay, you can't just brush it under the rug. You know what I mean? It's a fact. It's a fact that that was an easier matchup for Kucherov there. It's an easier matchup, with their lineup being more stacked than the
But
Avs
guess what?
are.
You knew that going in tonight.
That's my point. And then you had to be stingy defensively, key number 3 tonight. And then, listen, they just weren't there. I mean, that Sam falls down, Sam dives. What was it, the third goal? I mean, it's just like odd man rushes. And you got to remember, they missed a couple like semi breakaways. Or it could have been more disastrous in the first.
Oh, absolutely.
As we know,
Absolutely.
Not that there was big saves from Kakinen. I'm saying they shot wide or they missed a wide open net or, what I mean? I'm not going to take away from, like I said, Kakinen's night was weird. It was, and again, I get it. If all of a sudden Coach Bednar's like, seen enough. Like, I don't need to see more. I get it. It's part of life. The NHL is not fair. And I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. I'm saying if they end up doing something that they're like, he doesn't need to play again, then you miss your opportunity, right? I tell you all the time, right? You know what I mean? You got to be ready for your opportunity.
It's the harsh reality of life, yeah.
Yeah, there's no juice box or cut up oranges, right? It's the NHL. It's just not there. It doesn't exist, and it will never exist. It's a hard league and it's not fair.
Yep, absolutely true. The Avs' objective every single night is to win.
Yep.
And I think regardless of the unfairness of the lineup in front of him tonight, you're 11 games into the season and you can only trust one goalie in your net right now, and that's Justus Annunen. It is what it is. You can't work your way around that fact. We were talking about the Stars, though, and we did hear from a couple of those Stars, actually, post-game. But let's hear from Cale Makar first, as he's always the first one to admit to the Avs' faults.
Cale, you guys were up right that with shots at the end. How frustrating was it to not be able to get over that hump?
Yeah, I think there were times in the second and third period we were playing well and playing our game. Again, it's just a slow start and let them get a lead early, and it's tough to play kind of our style of game. I mean, we got to just get after it and make sure we're getting to the net. So, yeah.
You had to know tonight was going to be difficult coming in missing so many key players. How difficult is it to play your style of game when those many guys are out?
I mean, we have competent guys filling all the spots. It's not, we can't worry about who's out, unfortunately. It's just, we got to work with the group that we got in here. So nobody's feeling sorry for us. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We definitely want to be healthy, but at the same time, we know this group in here is capable of winning regardless of who we have. So we just got to flip that mindset and make sure that we come out every single night, regardless of the lineup, and still make sure that we're competing and outworking the other team.
What did you pinpoint as going wrong in the first period, and what kind of adjustments did you make?
Yeah, I think just a little bit. Again, just a couple lost defensive assignments. I feel like we gave up a lot of odd man rushes early, and that's going to hurt you, especially against a team like this where they capitalize on all those chances. So, again, for us, it's just we got back to our strengths. I felt like in the second and third, it's just we're yet to play kind of that full 60 minutes, and I feel like everybody's trying to work hard, but we got to make sure it's for the full 60.
Despite the ups and downs of the start to the season, you are now on an 11-point season opening streak. Is that something positive that you kind of just keep in your mind, or just you're still managing to produce, obviously? So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to help the team win. I'm never worried about myself individually. I think I still have better every single night. So felt like tonight again, just a little bit of a slow start, but figured it out in the second and third for myself. And you got to find a way to play a full 60. That's the only way we're winning games right now. So.
What finally seemed to click on the penalty kill? Feels like you guys have been building towards that, and tonight was perhaps the best it's looked.
Yeah, communication. I think everybody's talking. We're really committed to making sure that guys are doing the right things on the ice, making sure we're in the right lanes. And when you got guys that take pride in kind of not allowing goals on the PK, it's fun. So I think just that our mindset's kind of flipped to more attacking rather than just kind of sitting back and letting them come at us. So, yeah.
It's hard to have a lot to say about a game that you're down 3-0 10 minutes in. It defines the entire rest of the hockey game for you, and that's the reality. We said it a million times on the watch along. The Avs are not built to dig themselves out of a hole right now. Not by their own shortcomings. It's just the reality of the injury situation they're in, is that if they want to win hockey games as currently constructed, a 3-goal is impossible. 2 is bad. 1 is bad. 3, forget it.
But with that point, so I think you have right now with all the injuries, I agree with you. You got to tinker your little thinking a little bit, and you got to say, okay, you know what? Let's be even or better after 10 minutes.
Yep.
So does that mean that you just dump pucks and you sit back? No, but that does mean that you got to be sharp. Again, key number 3 tonight, stingy defensively. I didn't see it. They're losing guys. They're forgetting Kucherov 45 seconds in, right? It's just you got to be good. You got to be sharp, and you got to be perfect defensively. It was not the case tonight.
I want to dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But before we do, we are brought to you by UC Health and the Ready, Set, Co Challenge. They've got Coach Prime as their motivational officer to help you get a little bit healthier in your life. All they want to do is make Colorado the healthiest state in the country. They want to get you back to where you deserve to be. I stepped myself on the scale today. 200 pounds exactly.
I'm jealous.
Down about 50 pounds this year. Doing okay. Doing all right with my Ready, Set, Co challenge. You can get in on it too, and it's not just physical health like weight loss or gaining muscle. It's mental health. It's sleep health. It's whatever you need to get yourself to a better place as a person. So go join today. You can go to uchealth.org/readysetco. The link's down in the description of the video if you want to click in and become part of the challenge. We're also brought to you by the folks over at Toyota. I already mentioned Toyota would be nice to drive away from that hockey game and get far, far away up into the mountains. Toyota has a vehicle for everyone, 17 different all-wheel drive vehicles, 16 different hybrids, trucks, SUVs, sedans, you name it, they've got you covered. You can go find yourself a Toyota at your local Front Range dealers. They are the official vehicle of DNVR and the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. So maybe they're the official vehicle of driving away from the Colorado Avalanche when they're this injured. Maybe the Avs should get into a Toyota to keep themselves from getting injured. It'll protect you from the injuries. Again, you can get them at your local Toyota dealerships all across the Front Range, including, but not limited to, AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood, the official vehicle of DNVR. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. A couple of angles I want to take here with this conversation. Number one, this was a home game, and I am not the people on the internet that are talking about Jared Bednar getting fired. I want to be clear. That is a ridiculous take. Stop telling me that. That does not mean Jared Bednar is immune from criticism. This is a home game. Avs get last change. Avs essentially get to decide the matchups. And you put out Oliver Shillington at forward repeatedly against Nikita Kucherov. Don't love it.
No.
Would like a better management there of your lineup a little bit.
I just saw it, and it was off a draw too, so
Yep.
it's not like it was like
it's an active decision that Jared Bednar made. On
I
that.
didn't like that one. But then if he was sitting right here, not defending him, probably be like, well, how do you want me to go if I'm playing that line? I mean, someone's gonna. He's the defenseman.
And
I know. I'm with you. I didn't like it.
And I get reality is Bednar doesn't have a lot to choose from tonight
yeah.
when it comes to that forward core. He doesn't.
Yeah.
But
again, we were just lucky enough to have the first 2 goals there, right? You know, which is what 2-0 after what? It was pretty quick,
less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So way too easy, way too casual. Way too easy, meaning for Kucherov to be dancing like that and then to go and make a play, and way too casual for the 5 guys with the burgundy and blue jerseys tonight. It was way too easy. It's what I meant by being stingy. It was way too loose. The areas were there. Kucherov saw it, took it, and then Gensel's a guy that can finish. So I didn't like it.
Yep.
But I didn't like the personnel either. But then, again, maybe you would be here and tell us, like, who do you want me to put? I get it.
And
whatever.
if there was one more healthy guy, Shillington doesn't even suit up.
Exactly.
But
now you're probably going to get a suspension on Stienburg if Chernak's hurt, whatever. You know how it is. Now you're going to be missing another guy. Now you have to call up another guy because, they're bare boning it, right? So, and it sounds like Lekkonen's going to be back Tuesday now, he said. So then Druin, again, he's probably not ready. So maybe you're losing a guy to... You're definitely not getting Lekkonen this weekend, so then you might be losing a guy to a suspension. I don't know how this thing works anymore. I have no idea. Like
Nikita
I said to you.
Prishchapov, come on down.
Exactly. I mean, you don't like to see guys get hurt, like
Yeah,
I
and
said.
we'll talk about
yeah, I
Steinberg
know, exactly.
later.
But I'm saying, it is what it is.
Look, I feel for Shillington. I really do. He has not fit well in Colorado thus far.
No.
And he's put in an impossible situation tonight. He's, as far as I know, he's never played forward, even though Jared Bednar said he had. I've never seen him do it. And he already was not managing the systems well in the couple of games he got in on defense.
Well,
You set him up for failure to put him out there against Nikita Kucherov, and that's exactly what happened. And don't get me wrong. Whatever Jared Bednar decided, Oliver Shillington still played certainly that second goal absolutely horribly.
yeah, and it's not the type of game that's going to make you get a little confidence with your game.
Yeah.
You're not at your position, like you said. You're just, it's just not going to make you, give you the nice feeling tonight, like, and go home and be excited. You know what I mean? Like, I played and I played
the
good. It's
opposite
going to
of
be
that.
like, oh man, I played and we got crap kicked. And I was kind of a culprit of the first 2 goals. You know what I mean? I'm almost directly involved.
Certainly
right?
the second one. The first one, that's probably your guy and Kucherov up high there. But,
Somewhere, somehow, there's a little confusion, and you know what I mean?
and it's nothing against the guy personally.
No.
I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure
It's just been a
in a
tough fit.
system he fits maybe better in, he could be better. But so far, it's been painful in Colorado for him.
It's been a little bit. It's been a tough go. It's
Yep.
been a tough go. You know what? From the get-go, from the immigration to no gear to, it just hasn't been easy. You know what I mean? Like, it just hasn't been easy. Hasn't been, good in the scrimmages and practice. He hasn't been good in the preseason game. Then he fell out of favor a little bit. Then he hasn't been playing. So it's been a little rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I'm not trying to say he's been in a great situation, but
No.
if anything, he's played himself out of more opportunity.
yeah.
So.
It's been tough. It's been
And,
tough sledding.
and I don't want to contain this conversation just to Oliver Shillington.
No.
We talked about it. We said in the pregame show, look, you're not asking your depth to win you the game. You're just asking them to survive. Pretty much none of them survived this game.
No.
Kovalenko, -2. Stienburg, -1. We'll get to him. Parker Kelly, -3. Chris Wagner, -2. All of them are the guys actively getting scored on in this hockey game. And yeah, you needed more from your stars, but it's hard to keep yourself in a game when you're getting beat down that badly. And I get it. They're just overmatched. They're probably not supposed to live up to this level of play, but you just can't win games if you're getting that buried.
I agree with you, and you know me when I say all the time about your opportunity might never come back, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then when you got the opportunity to play a game in the National Hockey League, you gotta respect it, you gotta savor it. And I know what you're gonna say. Maybe like, and it's not fair. What you would say is, "Hey, listen, they gave their best." You know what I mean? They're just not up to snuff.
Then it's not good enough. Yeah,
That's right. It's just not up to snuff, right? You know what I mean? And there's a reason why you're not an everyday NHL player, right? You know, because it's a tough league, and if it was that easy, we'd all be playing. I'd still be playing. I wouldn't be talking about it tonight. I'd be like, Rudo, you're a good guy. Tiff, you're awesome, but I'd rather go play hockey than just talk about it, right? You know what I mean? If it was that easy, that's everybody would do it. It's not easy, so we're not complaining about that. We're saying that at the end of the day, it's a reality. When you're missing, what is it, 6 out of 9? You said before the game, right? Give and take.
6 of your top 9. Yep.
I mean,
if you include Landy and Val,
which again, that is a fact. That you're really digging into the well. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to get some clean water. It might be a little muggy. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh God. But that's where you're at. And then in order to be successful, starts on the goaltending to the top guys, to the, you know, to your play in the defensive zone, to your depth guys not to be eaten alive. And they were eaten alive tonight. And, you know, so they got to shoulder part of the blame too.
Again, I'm singling out conversations with players because I notice things about them, but this is on the whole team. Every single
100%.
player out there could have played better tonight. To bring up the defensive side, look, Sam Malinsky has been great this year. I think he's earned himself a full-time roster spot in the NHL as a defenseman. He was not good tonight.
Yeah.
The third goal, pretty much directly on him for that bad decision to dive for a puck that gives up a 3-on-1 because he full commits and does not get the puck.
Right.
A handful of other questionable at best plays throughout the night. So it goes for everybody, not just, the guys who have been called up were bad. No, the guys who have been here were bad too.
Yep.
And that's how you get a game that is as uncompetitive as this one was. It takes a village to be this bad. Put it to you that way. I want to go through a couple of the other main plays.
But I just want to add one
ahead.
more thing to your thing there. And this is not targeted at Sam.
No.
It's not. But I want to make sure that people understand the everyday life in the National Hockey League is one game does not make a season. 2 games does not make a season.
Unless you're capo cacking and trying to earn a job.
That might be, yeah.
But no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
No, I know what you're saying. You're right, though. But 10 games don't make a season either.
It's true.
The NHL is, and you've heard me say it, and I'll say it again, what have you done for me lately? And if your game has not been good, that last game, and the night before they failed, then you might be like, yeah, you know what? Jan Ludwig hasn't played lately. You know, we're going to put him, and you're the one that's scratched. And then now it's out of your control, your opportunity, right? You know what I mean? Now it's like the standings, right towards the end of the year when you're like, oh my God, they control their destiny right now with the standings, and, you know, and then, you lose that game. You're like, oh my God, it's out of your hands now. You got to hope for now you got to hope that somebody messes up for you to get back in. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's the tough part about being an everyday player in the National Hockey League. And it's one thing to be a call-up. It's one thing to play a season. It's another thing to have longevity in a career.
Agreed.
Because consistency is so hard to achieve. There's nights like tonight where it's like, I'm not bashing Rudo. He's right. He has the right to because he's a fan. He wasn't playing. But it's like, they're going to get their crap kicked tonight in, right? You know, because it's like, but as a player, don't kid yourself. You do feel that way sometimes too. Yeah. It's like, we're going to lose tonight. We're missing a lot of guys. But you can't. You got to make sure that you're at the top of your game because you're replaceable. Cale Makar's not replaceable. Nathan McKinnon's not replaceable. Mikko Rantanen is not replaceable. But most guys on a roster are replaceable. Like I said, it's not about Sam here. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just using an example because you talked about Sam. No,
sure.
The last people that you brought up numbers of. But that's the reality of this league, and that's why when you go on skids, it brings the crap. Yeah. Because remember, after 4 games starting the season, it's like, oh God. Then, like you said, Bednar, and at the end of the day, like, Bednar's not going anywhere, but it just brings out now you're on a 2-game skid. I understand that there's injuries, but nobody gives a crap. The league certainly doesn't. The other 31 teams don't give a crap. Talked about the Edmonton Oilers right now. They lost McDavid for 3 weeks. nobody gives a crap, you know? So it's like, but you got to find a way. And Jared Bednar, for example, he's very hard on himself. I think over the years, he's always found the way. He's never had an excuse about the injuries, you know what I mean? But it has to be getting old at times. I'm giving him I'm going to give him a bear hug right now, right here on the show. Oh my God.
Half my review from last game was I'm tired of the injuries.
It just gets old. It gets old. And I feel bad for the guy because he's not once ever used it as, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm human. And I probably in my last 8 years, he's been coaching, maybe I would have slipped it in there, a few
Once or
times.
twice.
Hey, I mean, come on now. Reality is we're really depleted. Not once has he ever said that. So, but I know what he thinks. It's how do I find this group to get going? Because now they've lost 2 in a row. Yeah. Right now, okay, we have a couple days. We're going to Nashville. Nashville hasn't been very good this year, but they're always a tough out at home. And they're like, you know what? We want to win. We don't want to keep losing.
And the thing is, I don't need to hear anything about the salary cap or the ALTIR situation for the Avs right now, because the reality is any team down 6 forwards is playing guys that probably shouldn't be in the NHL. That's just the reality of the situation. But don't flirt with your own salary cap, all right? Make sure you're making smart money moves with Premier Members Credit Union. Unlike the big banks, PMCU is truly invested in its members and communities. They're local here to Colorado. They're a financial institution based in your local communities, and they're an organization that serves those communities. So make sure you get with them. Whatever your goals might be, they can help. That means local branches, friendly tellers, and tools to help you save smarter. Like the reverse tier money market. It's the account you need to get ahead and stay ahead in this economy. Check out Premier Members Credit Union's reverse tier money market today. It's a game changer for your finances and your life. So why not see what they can do for you? You can go to becomepremier.com or the link in the description to learn more. And once you're taking care of your finances, make sure you are gearing yourself up by building things out correct. You start from the floor and you work up. That's where Empire Today comes in. You can go to empiretoday.com/DNVR right now and get $350 off new floors with Empire Today. Empire has only the best selection. They cut out all the cheap and junky products, so you only get the best from them. They have professional installers, and you can even do it from home. You can go online and kind of project the floor into a room that you can measure out to see what it'll look like in your space. Make sure you get with them today. Go jump on and get a free in-home estimate if that's your style. Or again, go to empiretoday.com/DNVR. That's a free in-home estimate, which you can schedule today. 1-800-588-2300. Empire
Today.
There it is. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Look, we have... How long is Bednar, Tiff?
38 minutes.
I can't imagine he went that long.
I'm kidding. What is there to say?
Perfect. That
That's
sounds like
quick.
the perfect length. Let's hear what Jared Bednar had to say about this rough one.
Hug.
How do you assess the start of this game and I guess your team's ability to flip a switch after the first 6 or 7?
Well, I think if you just look at the chances we gave up early in the game, it's awareness mistakes, like young players just not reading it quick enough and not getting quite in the right spot. Like we're there in good spots on both of them, and then we don't finish the job, So the first one, Covey doesn't come deep enough to protect the slot, and this pass surprises him, like he's not aware that the guy's behind him. I felt like we could have broke that pass up, no problem. It's in the back of our net. With Shilly on the second one. I thought we played hard, Third one, Sam falls, they take off on the odd man rush. He kind of Tynan runs into him because he falls in the lane. It's sort of bad luck. And then the fourth goal, Mance gets caught stepping up on a pinch, and they shoot it off the post, and then it goes right to their guy. There's 2 grade A scoring chances right there. I think if you take those 4 plays out of it, we defended hard and defended well against a really talented team that can be, I don't want to say they're an opportunistic team, but they're a super dangerous team if you give them those type of chances. Like, you have to try and make them earn it harder than that. So But overall, I thought we were engaged in the game. We played pretty hard, played pretty well. We definitely had a better second than first, and third was pretty good again, creating chances and opportunities to score, but it just didn't come easy for us tonight on the offensive side of it either.
What are your initial thoughts on Kaplan's performance tonight?
I thought he did a good job. Again, a little bit like Gorgie the other night. It was, you look at those 4 goals. I think, he'd probably want the first one back. It's a great shot, right in the slot, one-timer, well-placed. The other 3, he's got no chance, So it is what it is. And then he was good, he made a lot of nice saves, and I don't think outside of those chances they were super dangerous. But he did a nice job. I can't fault him for any of those goals.
What were your thoughts on that Stienburg 5-minute major there?
It leaves his feet, so you leave your feet. It's definitely a penalty. I don't know what constitutes the 5 on it unless he does catch him in the head. Then it's if you're leaving your feet and you catch him in the head, which is likely what happened. I couldn't see because the video screen I got, it was Steiny leaving his feet and making contact. So, yeah. But the thing I like with Steiny, I'd rather him not leave his feet there and finish that check, but he played hard. He finished checks. He went into people. He was involved again, just like he's been the whole time he's been here, and he's been a responsible defensive guy. So I'd rather have to dial him back a little bit on a play like that every once in a while than have to crank him up.
You got a fine line between being physical like you need to and hurting the club.
Yeah. Oh, it always is. Yeah. You gotta be disciplined, but yeah. So that's it's the first mistake he's made in a long time. So it is what it is. It's not I'll live with that mistake.
You guys had those 2 power plays late in the second period where a lot of puck movement, a lot of cycling, not a lot of shots, but I guess was that more of just not taking advantage of those opportunities, or did Tampa just not really give you much to work?
Well, I think we had some good chances in there. I know we had definitely had at least 2 in the slot that got through, and one that, at least one other one where we found the slot where they just get a last-second deflection on. I think it was on Ivan coming downhill right in a good spot. I thought the power play was dangerous tonight. That you have to, just the way they kill, you got to be a little bit patient with it, but I thought they did a nice job keeping it. Loose puck recoveries, checking the puck back, keeping it in the zone for zone time to catch a tired group, and then eventually, get a couple really good looks at the net. So the last little bit of execution, we took a little bit too long to shoot a couple times that they got sticks on, but they did a nice job. I think they went 1 for 4, and we could have had a couple more in there. The PK did a nice job too, and that's what we're going to need. We're going to need the goaltending. We're going to need the special teams to win the battle, and then we got to make sure that we're checking and not making some of those mistakes like we did tonight. But we played with a conscience and we were committed on the defensive side of it. We had a couple turnovers early in the game that led to odd man rushes, and I think one Sam toe picked and it went off his stick, and they're a really good transition team. If you give it to their D when they're looking up ice, they'll pick you apart. They'll get it by you and get going on the rush, and again, they don't need a bunch of those chances to make you look bad.
You mentioned this morning that there might be a update on Arturi Lehkonen.
Yeah, we're aiming for Tuesday against Seattle. I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday against Seattle.
Anything you want to in?
No, nothing yet. He's ramping up though. He's starting to take controlled contact, and so he's still a little sore, but he'll be getting close to. I don't have that's going to be day by day. You'll probably find out the day he's playing.
Megan, you have a question?
It was Lehkonen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Ivan had a second goal of his career tonight. What are your thoughts on his contribution to the team?
I thought he was great tonight again. Yeah. I think he's a when you're talking about bright spots besides some of the ones that you would expect, he's definitely one of them. I think he looks and plays. He's still learning the game a little bit, and just how hard and competitive and physical I think you have to be in order to have success there. But he started using his skating a little bit more. He's a great skater, really strong skater, It looks like he's kind of got the governor on at times, so we're trying to push him to like use that to his advantage, and he's starting to do that. But he plays the game in such a responsible fashion. He's good on both sides of the puck. He looks more and more like a seasoned pro every day. He's a bright spot for me. He's done a great job through the course of 10. I haven't seen today's analytics of suppressing scoring chances against in the time he has on ice. He's up there with if not the top of the league right now. So he's doing that and still finding a way to chip in, playing power play as well, and he's done a nice job, in that bumper spot, just supporting the puck, making plays in and out of there. He's got dangerous at times. He's been really good.
Any last ones?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Mitch.
So, it is what it is. Jared Bednar, pretty wise with his opening thoughts on these pressers lately. Hard to play hockey when you're -3 10 minutes into the game.
I mean, that's where they got to be better. That's where they got to be better next game. Apply yourself.
Yep.
Apply yourself. Be smart. Be tight. You can't be, like he said, there's so many mistakes on that first 2 goals, right? It's more like you're too loose there. You don't get it deep enough there. They're not blatant mistakes, but it's just, like I said, it's just too loose of coverage and too loose of laissez-faire attitude a little bit. And it's like, okay, we're good. Nothing's going to happen. And next thing you know, you give a guy like Kucherov the puck at his own end. What does he do? He goes all the way in, way too easy to get in, and then gives it to whoever finds him in the slot. And then the second goal is the same thing. He comes in, he goes and makes that superb play back, in the back of his, whatever, his eyes, in the back of his head, whatever.
Perfect pass, unbelievable read.
You know what I mean? But it's too easy. You know what I mean?
A great play also can include the defense falling asleep. Both things can be true. We have our man from the arena, Gizmo, Mr. Positive. Help me find something positive tonight, buddy, because I am struggling.
Well, I honestly don't think it's that hard to find the positives in this one. I haven't heard everything you guys are saying, and I normally get a chance to talk with you first. But listen, you take away those first few goals, and I thought it was a pretty good hockey game. I thought KK played all right. I think you need your big guys to kind of, maybe step up a little bit more. I thought the power play had some good looks. I thought defensively they were committed and bought in. I thought the defense, for the most part, looked pretty good after everybody settled in. I think it was just a weird start to the hockey game. And, listen, there's nerves there. And you heard KK say it. There was a little bit of communication issues there too, right? With everybody else on the ice. So I think as time goes on and you sort of sort that out, I do think it's going to be okay. Can't hear you guys if you're talking to me.
Sorry. I do think this is a one-game issue where the Avs are down 6 forwards and a goalie playing his first game for the organization. This is not a long-term issue by any stretch of the imagination.
No. And I think, listen, I think I'm pretty encouraged by the play of Capo, to be quite honest with you. I don't, aside from maybe wanting the first one back, I really don't think those other 3 there was much you could do. The one that came off the post and went right to the stick. I mean, 2 grade A scoring chances that there's not much you're going to be able to do to defend against. They ended up out shooting them, so they kept going. Vasilevsky is just fantastic. He came up with some very big saves. So, listen, I think if you look at this in totality, there is a lot more positive than negative. I think that there's some things that they can clean up a little bit here and there. But, again, I thought the defense, I thought all 6 guys were great in that regard. I think they'll work some things out. And this is just a very depleted team. I mean, there is so much to do with these injuries, and it's just got everybody doing different things and playing in different roles and, Shillington up on wing. So, when you look at it in totality, all of those things factor in, and that's why you're in a situation like this. But I'll tell you what, I really like the fight in these guys. And I think that's been the common thread for me is the resilience of this group over the course of the entire season. Even when it's been bad or you could hang your head a little bit, they find a way to be positive.
I struggle to say there's more positives than negatives in a game the Avs trailed by 3 for the vast majority of, but I do agree with your point that, let's be real, this is a pretty expected result from a game where you are cobbling together a lineup of a bunch of guys that, at best, are fringe NHLers and at worst are actively playing out of position. So, yeah, the Avs kind of just had to get through this one in a lot of ways. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to watch a goalie like Vasilevsky play great. A weaker goaltender, maybe this is a competitive game for the Avs. But ultimately, the lineups were just on 2 different levels tonight for me.
And that's the nuts and bolts of it. And you do have, 3 of the best players in the world still out there on the ice, and Makar and McKinnon and Rantanen, and you got a great performance again today, no surprise, out of Cale Makar. 11-game point streak's pretty good, and he does the little things right, and I think the positivity is there. I think there's just circumstances where you're still getting just a little bit unlucky as a collective group, and as those things start to relieve, I think we'll see things start to improve. Sounds like Lehkonen and Drouin are almost immediately going to be back. We could see something as early as this weekend, certainly by next Tuesday. So that's encouraging to hear. And I think we're going to start to get some good things rolling in regards to the lineup. And once you get those guys back in, it just takes a little bit of pressure off. And I don't care how good you are, and Eric can attest to this, there's a lot of pressure on the top guys on this team right now to consistently and frequently perform and participate. And yeah, that's their job, but it's a lot of weight and it's a lot of heavy minutes.
I always ask about body language and, the feeling in the locker room after the game. I know when you put a camera in the front of someone's face, you might see a certain look, but then the camera goes away and then you can see, how they're taking their gear off. Well, do you think the guys are still upbeat a little bit in there? Not that, again, this is game 11. Let's just be honest, but a depleted lineup. But what was the mood like?
Yeah, you know what, E, that's a fantastic question. And you want to know what's ironic? Tonight, I expected the doldrums. And, when they do lose a game over the last few, early part of the season, the locker room has been very quiet, nominal amount of guys in there. And it's just kind of like, come in, try to get 1 or 2, and then let's get out of there. The mood was not that today. There were multiple guys in the locker room when the press went in. Guys were talkative. Guys were upbeat. Guys were also optimistic. I did not feel like when I walked into the room that the sky was falling whatsoever. And I think a lot of that honestly has to do with the leadership. I think a lot of that has to do with Jared Bednar. He's a very positive guy. He's not a get in your face, yell at you, tell you all the things you did wrong. He's very much optimistic and he's very much upbeat and uplifting. And I think they're just looking at each other being like, we're going to figure this out. And they will. And bodies are going to help that exponentially.
100% agree with that last bit. I don't think, again, expectations, every NHL player wants to win every game, but you have to know in their mind somewhere they're looking at this game and going, yeah, we're missing 6 guys. It's not that complicated.
I mean, E and I were going to get tapped in today, but we didn't pass our physicals. Otherwise, I'm going to start just keeping the hockey gear in the trunk.
They might need you at this rate, man. It's tough.
There's an open skate going on behind me. I don't know if it's an open tryout for the team or not. It could be. I mean, there's some skaters out there for sure, so not positive.
There's a camera filming, so...
I do want to get your thoughts on the one last thing, the Stienburg hit, Gizmo, the one he gets the 5 for. Your thoughts on that? Is it a tough hit from in the arena, or how'd you see it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a penalty all day long and twice on Sunday. I mean, he left his feet. The attention is, I get what he's trying to do. It's a try to inject some energy, try to get him going, make a big play, throw a big hit. And I think the moment just got away from him a little bit there, but yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw it, I saw it live, and there were 2 big hits on that in that same sequence, and I wasn't sure. when they reviewed it, I was like, oh, okay. I'm not sure which one they were going for, and then they honed in on the Stienburg hit, and he was in the air. Both feet were off the ice. Good intent, bad result. Just got to be a little smarter in those moments. But I know what he was trying to do, and I think that's a mistake, and you won't make that one again.
Well said. Giz, any final thoughts here as the Avs have one game left on this homestand?
No, it's okay. It's going to be all right. I think, stay positive, believe, and, just try to find a way to weather the storm as best you can here. There's no panic in this organization. Super encouraged by the play after those first few minutes after those first 10 minutes of KK, and otherwise I'm optimistic, boys. I'm optimistic. Stay positive, and I think the results will start to come. Guys were upbeat afterwards. Nobody was hanging their heads, shuffling out of the arena tonight.
All right, Gizmo talking me off the ledge a little bit.
Yeah, you're okay, buddy.
Least.
You're okay. You're okay. Whiskey also helps.
Well, funny you mention that, because the other thing I do when I need to chill is drink Coors Light. So
look at you.
Make sure you go getting yourself a Coors Light when you need to chill after an Avalanche game that doesn't go your way. Coors Light can even deliver it right to your front door with CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Instacart will hook you up without even getting up off your couch. Great to drink, easy to drink when you're out for... can people still barbecue? Is it going to get warm again, or are we in the cold season? Then you're going to want to bundle up inside when it snows. You know what you do? You throw a 6-pack of Coors right in the snow in the backyard. It's good to go. You're ready to drink. Jump on it with Coors Light. Go get yourself the beer made to chill. The mountains turn blue on the bottle and the can. Of course, when you do drink, Coors Brewing Company asks you to drink responsibly. Golden, Colorado. Also brought to you by the fantastic folks. Look, this Avs game might not have been very fun. They might not have done a lot of the great things that you would have liked to see, but someone who is doing something great is the Upswing Foundation. It's the only youth sports foundation based in Colorado's Mile High training grounds that provides access to world-class programs alongside top athletes for kids of all backgrounds in order to connect people and catapult dreams. Jump in with them. They have an open house coming up actually on November 3rd from 1 to 3 p.m. You can come meet their performance coordinators and dance coaches and get in with them and get involved. Their new youth sports facility on University in Centennial is going to be opening up, and you can use it. Their first dedicated space ever for the Upswing experience for aspiring Denver athletes and all of the surrounding communities. Their sports performance focuses on speed, agility, strength, and mobility, so there's something for all child athletes that you can get there. Athletes under 18 can sign up for classes at upswingfoundation.org/login or by downloading Upswing Foundation, their app. And DNVR listeners can get 20% off all services when you use promo code DNVR20 at checkout. Upswing also offers scholarships to qualifying athletes under 18 that train in sports performance, dance, and recovery in their new state-of-the-art athletic facility. Again, Centennial, Colorado, upswingfoundation.org. All right. I did want to get a little bit more into that Stienburg conversation with you, Eric.
Yes.
Because I think this is a tale of two hits.
Yep.
You look at the first hit he makes. It's a clean hit. It's a good hit. This is a 3-1 game at the start of the second period. It ends up drawing the Avs a power play. That's everything right about an energy player that you're asking to help move this game in the right direction. Does everything right on that first hit.
Yep.
Loved it. Great thing.
Yep.
And then the second one's just a bad hit. It just is.
Yep. And here's what I'm going to say, and that's what I was saying earlier, because I was reading Twitter and getting mad when I read that. Oh, he's out to target his head. Nobody goes out there and targets a head. No, nobody does that. But you're right. The first hit. So here's my point. It's a dead-on collision, right? The guy's looking at you. He's away from the boards. He comes at him, like you said, perfectly fine. Chest right through the body. There's no elbow. Different situation on the second one because it's a forecheck. He gets paid to forecheck. If he's going to play in the National Hockey League, he has to forecheck. He does the right things. He's forechecking with his legs. I say that to the youth hockey kids all the time. You were forechecking with your eyes. That means you're gliding.
Yeah.
And if you glide, you're not going to get there. The guy's going to make the pass, and you're not going to create a turnover. So he's forechecking with his legs, stops skating, right, which is the right thing to do, so it's not charging. And then he gets there. So you can't fault the guy for being fast or actually working hard. And he gets there. The angle that he takes, it's a hit against the boards and the glass. Totally different than the first one, like you said, right? Because the first one is just you hit. Now this one, that's where it creates bad ending. Like this was a bad ending. And then he's like, well, I'm going to turn my back, because I don't want to hit him with my elbow, or sometimes the momentum kind of gets you going. You don't mean to, and it just goes up, and then, and then it's a bad hit. Unfortunately, his feet leave the ice, like you said, and that's against the rules.
Yep.
That's a penalty. So
Just
I'm
is.
with you. And again, it ends up being a bad hit. He's going to learn if he wants to play in this league, and I'm not being old school, and this league has changed now where you have to be careful for all the reasons, right? So you don't want a guy to get hurt. You don't want Chernak to get hurt. He's a solid player. You hope he's feeling good. And the last thing Stienburg thinks right now is that he wanted to hurt him, because now you feel bad. He's like, oh my God, the guy didn't finish the game. You feel bad. And I'll tell you, I'm sure he went underneath after the game, try to find out to make sure he was good, because guys do have respect for one another. When I hear all the time, oh, there's no respect. It is a physical sport. If you're going to go watch badminton, there is no hitting. I get that. And when there is physical contact, you got to be better. Stienburg was not at his best on that hit.
Yep.
And that is a penalty. And I agree with it, even though on the spot I was arguing with you that, oh my God, because sometimes I do get mad. But at the end of the day, what I get mad about is there was no intent to injure the player.
I mean, look,
and,
the reality
but he'll
is
learn.
It's a fine line.
That's it.
The difference between those two hits, one is helping your team try and get back in the game.
Right.
Team let you down.
And he
on
was
the
doing
power
it
play.
again.
Yeah.
He was doing it again
And
because it worked. He just got ahead of himself a little bit.
Exactly. And ends up hurting your team when you cross the line, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's it.
It is what it is. I really, truly, as much as I hated this game, it is meaningless to an Avalanche organization. The reality is, if the Avs are going to be missing 6 forwards for the entire season, guess what? They're not going to be very good.
Yeah.
They have to get guys back and get healthy to be a real competitive hockey team, especially with quality teams like Tampa Bay, who, as much as I don't think they're as good as they used to be, they're still a playoff team. They're still a quality hockey team.
We got some good pillars there. You saw it tonight with the first 2 goals. And I know we don't like to talk about Kucherov last year because he was always head-to-head with Mac last season about who's going to win the Hart, but he's a heck of a player.
Yeah, I mean, he was better than anyone on the Avs.
Those are 2 heck of a plays. I mean, those
no
first
doubt
2
about
plays,
it.
he's like...
Kucherov was the best
pretty
player
good.
in this hockey
That's
game.
right. And then Hedman's still a good player. And then, listen, Braden Point's an outstanding player. Then you have guys, secondary guys that the Avs are missing. The Coltons, the world. But then they have Hagel and Cirelli. Those are unbelievable hockey players,
Imagine if the Avs were playing a Tampa Bay team that didn't have Brandon Hagel, didn't have Anthony Cirelli, didn't have Nick Paul, didn't have Mikey Isamont, and it didn't have, let's say, also didn't have Cam Atkinson.
Yeah.
That's essentially what the Avs are playing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would look at that Tampa team and go, wow, they're super vulnerable. That's a team you should probably beat. Because that's what the Avs are doing right now. They're playing without 6 of their forwards.
But they weren't smart enough tonight to do what they need to do to be able to overcome that loss. And that's where you have to give Tampa credit.
Yep.
Because they were barking all day. Let's jump on them. Let's jump on them right off the bat. Let's take the lead. And then we're going to have to be very sharp till the end of the night. And then Vasi, the big cat's going to make the saves for us. And we're going to walk away with a victory. And that was their game plan. And that they executed to perfection. Didn't take them too long. Took them, 45 seconds to get it going and to make sure that, let's take the lead and let's go from there.
Toyota Chat is talking about trades. Why would you want to trade for anyone when they're just going to get hurt? Because that's what the Avs do. All right. It was a joke, Chat. Relax. It was a joke.
It was funny,
Yeah. I think part of the reality is, you know what? The Avs were already bordering on survival mode going into this season, waiting for guys to get healthy. Now it's absolutely, you're just trying to get to the point where you start getting players back.
Did we lose anyone tonight?
Not as far as I know. I mean, unless Stienburg gets suspended.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he will, but again, you just hope Chernak's
So,
fine.
of course.
You just hope
you never
Trent
want to
X
see anybody
no,
get hurt.
No, you don't.
Yeah. The Avs are going to try to lean on their best players, and unfortunate realities of where the Avs lineup is at. If you're not getting 3-point nights out of your best players, you're probably not winning. No one on the Avs team had 3 points tonight. Is that fair? No. Is that the reality of being a superstar in this league? Yes. It's what it is.
Comes with the territory.
Yep. So we'll see. The Avs have 2 days off, and then they go against Seattle on Saturday. I expect Annunen back in net. Other than that, I don't really know how much help they're going to get. So
Doesn't sound like any.
it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one. The Avs are going to have to dig deep and try and find something. But for now, we're going to wrap up this post-game show because I really don't think there was a ton to say about that hockey game. So
kudos to us for talking about it for an hour.
we did it. We made it through an hour. We do appreciate y'all. We will be live tomorrow for an off-day show, so come join me and E on Halloween for hopefully something a little bit lighter than this, whatever this was. We appreciate y'all. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, and we will talk to you in the next one.
We all silly like the mayor.